Fine. So today I'm going to discuss on hidden surfaces, which is a topic in Unit 5. So just see if you can see my screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Yes, can you all see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, fine. So coming to hidden surfaces, as the name says, in this particular session, we are going to find ways to find the hidden surfaces or the surfaces which are not visible to the user at the particular point of time, so that if you remove the hidden surfaces or the overlapping surfaces which are not directly visible to the user, you will get a realistic image. So that is the uh, point in studying this particular set of algorithms which we are going to see today. So the topics which we are going to discuss today is backface detection and removal, depth buffer, depth sorts, or it's also called Painter's algorithm, area subdivision algorithm or Warnock's subdivision algorithm, BSP tree, and scanline. So these are the topics we'll try to cover today. These are actually the algorithms which are used to detect the hidden surfaces or to detect the surfaces which are not visible at the particular point of time. Okay, so to know more about the hidden surfaces, you can see like if you have a set of objects in on the screen at a point of time, and these surfaces are not transparent. So if it is not transparent, it is understood that the surfaces which lie behind or the part of surfaces which lie behind certain set of objects are not going to be visible to the viewer. So if you don't find out the such kind of surfaces and you tend to draw all the surfaces available in the projection plane, the image is not going to look realistic. So for that purpose, we are going to find out surfaces which are coming behind the object under reference, and only paint or shade the surfaces which are directly in the projection view of sight. So that is the overall view against hidden surface problem. So as you can see, display all visible surfaces, or and do not display the occluded surfaces, means the surfaces which come behind a particular object. As you can see on the third figure, there are parts of objects which are coming behind the objects which are under reference, so those part is not going to be displayed. Yeah, this hidden surface problem can be asked in different names like visible surface detection or hidden surface elimination. So in the exam, you should not say that hidden surface problem wasn't asked. It can be asked also in the form that explain visible surface detection or hidden surface elimination. I hope you all are understanding. Clear? Okay. And there are two approaches to find out surfaces which are hidden. The first approach is called the object space method, and the second approach is called the image space method. Now what is object space method? Object space method is that instead of you're going to consider parts of the object. Like if you take a cube, you're going to have faces of the cube. So you're going to take each face of the cube and compare it with other parts of the objects or other objects, such that you can find which objects are coming behind each other, or which object is actually in front of the user's view. So that is the method used in object space method, that you can say compares objects and parts of object. Whereas in image space method, you're not going to compare object part as a whole. Instead, you are going to take pixel by pixel. So you are going to take a particular object or a polygon. You are going to discrete it, like you're going to take each pixel position available in that particular polygon and see if that pixel is in front or nearer to the viewing person, or it's in front of the projection plane. So that is what is used in image space method. So these are the two approaches which we are going to study in detail, and each approach has different sets of algorithm which you will be seeing in the next set of slides. So please remember, they can ask you as a general question, explain hidden surface algorithm, or they can ask you individually, like explain object space methods or image space method, or they can ask you explain the two approaches used in hidden surface algorithm. Fine. So this is a general algorithm which you can see as object space method. So this is the general algorithm, that is, for each object in the scene, you're going to determine the part of the object whose view is unobstructed by other parts of it or any other object with respect to the viewing specification. So as I told before, that you're going to take parts of the object and check whether it is coming in obstruction with it's on other parts or with the other object parts, and you have to only paint the object part which is not obstructed by any other parts. So that is the general algorithm. Similarly, image space method is, instead of object part, you're going to determine the object closest to the viewer. Means you're going to take pixels, you're going to find pixels with z value which is near. You know what is a z value? A pixel will have x coordinate, y coordinate, and z coordinate, where x gives you the width, y gives you the height, and z gives you the depth of an object. So if the z coordinate or the pixel point, the z coordinate of any pixel point is supposed to be nearer to the viewer, that particular pixel is going to be colored. So that is the algorithm which you're going to general algorithm which is going to be used behind image space method. So I hope you have understood the general approaches called object space method and image space method. Clear? So now, as I told you, each object space and image space method has different sets of algorithm, but they basically follow the general algorithm which I have explained earlier. So object space method has two algorithms we are going to study here, is backface detection and painter's algorithm. And under image space methods, we are going to study is the Z buffer, the scanline, or Warner subdivision algorithm. Now remember, in the exam they can ask you explain any two object space method, explain any two image space method. They are not going to ask you all the algorithms at one stretch. Instead they might ask you any two, or they might simply say explain object space methods. In that case you will have to explain all the algorithms which is available in object space, or all the algorithms which is available in image space. They will not ask you, or in general they can ask you explain any two algorithms under hidden surface detection. So you can select one from object and one from image. So that's how it's going to be asked. So going to the algorithm, backface detection algorithm, as you can see, backface detection means you are going to detect the surface of the object which is behind the viewer. Means it's behind, or behind, not behind the viewer, out of sight of the viewer. For example, you can see the image at the right bottom. You have a cone, the viewer or the camera is in one position and the arrow is in the other position. Yes. So So as you can see, the object, so the viewer is in one side, and uh, the arrow is shown in the other side. So of course, when we see at this object, you know that the arrow pointing is behind, it's going to be beyond the sight of the viewer. So how are you going to calculate it using the program? So this is that if this vector is pointing in direction of the center of projection, the center of projection is the viewer viewing direction. If it is if this normal was pointing towards the viewing direction, then it was supposed to be a front face. But say if the normal is pointing away from, or in the opposite, it's going away from the viewing direction, that means it's behind the, or it's not going to be seen by the user. So how is it going to be calculated? So if v is a vector in the viewing direction from the eye or the camera position, then the polygon backface is going to be the dot product of the vector, viewing vector, and the normal. So every face has a normal vector. So if you're going to take the dot product of the viewing vector and the normal vector, and if the value returned value is greater than 0, that means it's a back face. Or you can calculate it in another way. As you know, how to calculate the the polygon surface ax plus by plus cz plus d. If it is equal to 0, it's the plane equation. That means it is on the plane. So if you want to, if we have already studied the inside outside test, so if it was less than 0, it is going to be outside, and if it is greater than 0, it is going to be inside. So that is what we have studied. So that is the concept which is taken. Otherwise, if you are not go following the vector dot vector product. Okay. So if the view vector is parallel to the z-axis, as you can see the image on the right top, if it is parallel to the zv, then you can take the coordinate of the v or the viewing vector as 0 0. That means x and y coordinate is going to be 0 because it's at the origin, and since it's parallel to the viewing direction, the z value is equal to vz. So in that way, we get the dot product of v dot n equal to vzc. C is nothing but the constant you find in the plane equation. So that if we only need to consider, so in this case we need to only, if you're taking the last equation, you need to only consider the sign of c. If the sign of c is less than 0, that means it is the back face. If it is equal to 0, that means it cannot be seen, because as I told you, z is in parallel, the viewing vector is in parallel with the z axis, so it cannot be seen. So in short, back face, if its normal has z value equal to c less than or equal to 0, that means the particular phase you are considering is behind the object. So that phase need not be illuminated or painted. So that is what the c value can be calculated from the plane equation. Clear? So this is the concept of backface detection. So what you're trying to see is, you are going to find whether a particular phase or the polygon, part of the polygon, whether it is in line with the viewing position or behind the viewing position. So this is actually following the object space method. Clear? So this is an example what we have discussed right now. So you have two normals, two surfaces are right now under consideration. The normal of the first surface you can see is 2 comma 1 comma 2, and the normal of the second surface is -3 1 and -2. So you can see the viewing vector coming, or the projection line coming, where v is equal to -1 0 -1. So if you take the dot, if you take the n1 normal first, if you take the dot product of values of n1 and v, you get the value -4. That means the value is less than 0. That means it is in front of, it is front facing polygon. That means it's in line with the viewers viewing direction. Whereas if you take the n2 normal and the viewing vector and you find the dot product, the value is 5. That means the v value n2 dot v is becoming greater than 0. That means n2 normal or the face with the n2 normal is behind the viewing direction. So that's all about the backface detection. The next algorithm we are going to study is the Z buffer. The Z buffer, the basic idea, so Z buffer comes under image space method. Why? Because here instead of taking the parts of the object, we are going to take the Z value of each pixel position of the polygon surface under consideration. And as I told you, each pixel has three coordinates: x coordinate, y coordinate, and z coordinate. X gives you the width, y gives you the height, and z gives you the depth. So to find how far a particular pixel is from the viewer's point of view, you have to calculate the z value. So you're going to, the basic idea is you're going to take each polygon surface one at a time. The order doesn't matter, you can take any surface uh, in any order, but for each surface under consideration, the pixels and which comes under the line of sight are going to be calculated for its z value. So based on the z value, you're going to decide whether it is closer to the user, and if it is closer to the user, you are going to color it. So for this particular algorithm to work, we have two kinds of buffers named frame buffer and depth buffer. So the now, as I told you, you have this particular polygon face where the z coordinates of the vertexes are z1, z2, and z3. So how are you going to get the other z values? You're going to interpolate the z value of the vertices. So how are you going to do the interpolation is based on the formula which is given on the right side. That means z1, z2, z3 is all already specified or already available while you're drawing the polygon. What about the other Z values which come in line with the Z1 and Z2 and Z3? The other Z values or other pixel values are obtained based on the interpolation method. Clear? Fine. So this is the algorithm how it starts. So first you have to initialize. As I told you, we have two buffers: frame buffer and depth buffer. Depth buffer is also called Z buffer. Okay, so we are the first step is z buffer is going to be set to 0. In some textbooks it is you can all it is also specified that z buffer is set to infinity. So either case can be accepted or followed, but based on your initialization certain steps will differ. So the second step is the image buffer is going to be set to the background color. That means before you start painting, the initial color of your object is going to be the background color. Then as I said, the surfaces of the polygon are going to be rendered one at a time. Means it's going to be colored or shaded one at a time. The order of the surfaces taken doesn't matter, but all the surfaces has to be covered. So for the first surface which is under consideration, the depth value of each pixel is calculated. That is the Z value of each pixel is calculated, and the Z value obtained if it is greater than the corresponding depth value in the Z buffer. That means initially a Z buffer is set to 0. So if the when we are calculating the Z value of the surface, if it is greater than the current Z value, then you are going to assign the greater value to the Z buffer, and you are going to assign the color value of that particular pixel to the color buffer. So that's how you're going to color it. That means if and only if the Z value is greater, you are going to color it. Otherwise, if you have set initialize the Z buffer with the value of infinity, then you will consider if the Z value is smaller than the Z value already available, then you are going to color the pixel, or you're going to store the color value in the image buffer based on the Z value calculated. Otherwise, you are going to ignore that pixel. So this process is going to be repeated and for all the surfaces under consideration. After all surfaces are processed, you get the color for each pixel in the buffer value, which is going to represent the color of the object. So this is an example of what I just explained. So this is my final image, what I expect, and you can see the z value of the red color. The pixels are z equal to 0.5, and the z value of the blue colored pixels are z equal to 0.3. So initially all the z values are set to 0. After that, you are going to take a particular pixel under consideration and check whether it is smaller, it is greater than the current z value. So you can see 0.3 is greater than 0, so that particular color is stored in the image buffer. In the next step, that next z value is taken under consideration, which is 0.5. So 0.5 is greater than the 0.3 in this particular colored blue block, so that is replaced with 0.5. So this is how you get the final picture. So this is how z buffer works. So as I told you, z buffer is an image space method. Why? Because instead of taking parts of the object, you are taking pixel of the polygon surfaces under consideration, calculating the depth and selecting the pixels based on the depth. So the advantages of this particular algorithm is listed right now. It's simple. It can be implemented easily, and it can be executed easily, as you're just checking whether it is greater than the current z buffer. But it takes lots of memory because you're calculating the pixels of all the surfaces, and each surface comprises of many pixels. Then since you have to calculate the z values, there can be precision errors coming up, and this doesn't work for transparent surfaces properly. So this algorithm is not successful in calculating or coloring transparent surfaces. So you have to use an additional code for that. The next algorithm under consideration is Warnock's um, um, area subdivision method. So this is again an object space method. You can take it in that manner. So it here what you're going to do, sorry, it's not object space method, it is image space method, because you're going to consider the final pixel. But how are you going to take the pixel is you're going to divide the surfaces continuously, partition the surfaces continuously until and unless you get a pixel which lies inside the area, or which lies outside the area, or which is surrounded by a particular area. As you can see, there are four conditions. You can see an object falls or it is surrounding the surface under consideration. Sometimes it might be overlapping the surface, sometimes it can be inside the surface, or it can be completely outside. So this type of position is obtained when you only after you discretely divide the object into small partition. That's why it's called area subdivision. So I'll as the how is it done is, you see the initial scene, you have different objects over there, that is divided into four subdivisions, or four sets of block equal area. And this again so as you see, the three squares have objects in them, and the fourth one doesn't have the object. So if it doesn't have the object, you need not further subdivide it. So the other blocks which have the object is going to be again subdivided by dividing the square into four equal blocks again. And this process continues, or this process stops until and unless the area doesn't contain an object, or the area contains a object with only a single object which you can easily color. So that is the concept. You can see in the main this you have two objects which are overlapping. It is being divided several number of times based on the number of objects finally present in that particular area. So if 3 is given if only one polygon is inside, so that particular color is given for that particular polygon. 1 is given if it is overlapping with other polygon. So first the green color will be colored, and again when you subdivide you get only red if it is overlapping, because that is the pixel which is in front of the green. And then you have 2 which is giving you areas which doesn't contain the any object, so that particular squares are not being further subdivided. So that is the algorithm. That is, initially you will have a set of objects. You are going to divide that area into 4 equal parts, and the area subdivision will continue unless and until there is no object in that, or there is only one single area present in that, and based on that particular polygon the color is going to be filled. Clear? So that is all about Warnock's subdivision algorithm. The second is depth sort algorithm. It's also called Painter's algorithm. It also comes under image space method, because you're calculating the depth of each pixel and then sorting it based on its depth value. And based on the depth value, the farthest pixel is going to be painted first. So you can see the blue color is done first, then the green which comes on top of the blue, and this goes on. So the farthest image is colored first, and then the next pixel is considered. So that's why it's called the painter's algorithm. That means first it's painted red, one color, then after that if it comes above in front of any other object, again it's painted with another color. So the coloring depends on the depth value of each pixel. So that's how. So draw surfaces from back to front, that is from farthest pixel to the closest pixel. How is it done? By sorting the z value. You are going to calculate the z value for each polygon surface as you did in z buffer. Then draw the surfaces in order from farthest to closest. That means the pixel which is far away is going to be painted first, and then overlapping painting is to be done. So the disadvantage, as you see, that repeatedly you have to go on coloring instead of choosing a single color if the object is going to be overlapped by other objects. Clear? So that is depth sort algorithm. Then the next is BSP tree, or binary space partition. It's actually you're dividing the the object space into a binary tree, as you can see in the image. So you are going to set the viewing direction, that is randomly set, and you can also select the front and the back. There is no rule as to how to set the front and the back, so that has to be previously specified before you start with the algorithm. And based on that, as you can see, the viewer is viewing in one direction. So first consider, and these A, C, B are the edges available of a particular surface. So I first consider one edge or one surface A, and now you're going to check. And the two binary, when you say a binary tree, you're going to it is going to have two arms. One is going to show the front faces, and the one is going to show the back faces. So if you consider the A object, the front of A is the direction to which it is pointing. So in front of A you have the C object. That is why A C object comes on the right side, and behind A you have the B object. That means the object which is coming behind this arrow, so it is coming in the left. It's being the left child node. Similarly, when you take the consider B object, when you look at the direction specified, front of B is 2 and behind B is 3. So that is going to be the leaf node. And when you consider the C object, front of C is 1 and behind C is 4. So that's how binary space partition is done. Why it's done? So based at the final, you get the leaf node which specifies which surface is behind the view and which is in front of the view, and based on that you can color the object. So that is why it's called binary space partition. Now the last algorithm is scanline, which we have already done in unit 3. So here it's scanline. As I said previously in the class, we have two tables, edge table and the surface table. So what it does, as we have already discussed in the class, so the same topic can be asked in this unit also, because scanline also helps in detection of hidden surfaces. So you have active list of edges, that is the list of edges or the edges which are actually in the current buffer, or the edges through which the scan line is currently passing. And how is it going, how are you going to store the edges? You are going to store it in increasing order of x. Then you are going to process the pixel from left to right. Of course, you know that scanning of the screen takes place from left to right, so you're going to process the active edges from left to right. And when you're processing from left to right, and when you are on the surface of a particular surface, the flag is set to 1, and when you exit the surface, the flag is set to 0. So that's how. And if two surfaces are on at the same time, you are going to consider the depth value, and based on the depth value, you are going to color the object. So as you see in the scan line 1, the object red color is going to be on at one particular point of time, because scanning takes place from left to right. And when it exits the red object, it becomes off, and the next surface, blue surface, becomes on at another point of time. But when you see, look at the consideration of 2 and 3, the flags of both the objects will be on at a particular point of time, because both the objects are overlapping. At that time, you are going to calculate the depth of each surface to find out which surface is in front of the other object. So that is why this scan line is helpful, whereas the algorithm is going to be same as we have studied in the third unit. So it's just a revision. Only the thing is how to find out overlapping surfaces and which surface to consider while coloring. So that's it. In this session, we have learned how to find out hidden surfaces. As I said, hidden surfaces are found based on its object parts or z value calculation. And there are different methods, there are two methods or two approaches we have learned: object space method and image space method. Object space method actually compares parts of the object with each other, and image space method compares pixel of each surface with each other to find which is nearer to the viewing direction. Then you have to compare object space method and image space method. There are many points and there are different algorithms also to consider. And you've studied different algorithms like the back face detection, where you find whether a particular face or the object surface under consideration is behind the viewing direction or in front of the viewing direction, based on the dot metric product of view vector and the normal. Then the z buffer method, wherein you are calculating the z value and coloring based on the z value obtained. Then you have the area subdivision, where you are dividing the area into small subdivisions, and finally painting the pixels found which is enclosed singly in a particular partition. And then you have depth sort again, which is similar to z buffer, only thing is sorting the z values and coloring it from behind to front, or far from the to the smallest. And finally you have the binary partition tree, where you are dividing it based on the position of the object, based on the front face of each object, into left branch and right branch, so that finally you get the surfaces which are visible to the user. And the last is the scan line, which follows the active edge list, scanning it from left to right, then calculating the overlapping surfaces based on the flag set and the depth value at that particular point of time. So these are the methods we have learned today. So if there is any doubt, please ask me. Are you all facing any difficulty in any of the topics explained today? Please ask. So I'll be sharing the PPT in the classroom as well as the Moodle. And please try to answer the questions specified at the end of the PPT because it will help you during the exam. So now these are the important topics which has to be studied in this particular hidden surface algorithm, and uh, it is a compulsory question, or it's a topics which you have to really study. You cannot skip any of the topics because it's regularly asked in all the exams. So if there is any doubt, please ask. Anyone facing any difficulty in any of the algorithms? Fine. So then the next session we'll be covering shading algorithm, which is again a part of Unit 5, and that is Halfton shading, Phong shading, and Garon shading will be covered in the next session. So for time being, I'm ending this session. I hope you all have understood. Okay, and I'll be sharing the PPTs with you all. Fine. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me personally.